欢迎锁定聚焦东西，这里是加州，我是田霞。中国功夫是墙内开花墙外香，还没到暑假，位于北加州的禅龙功夫学院的暑期夏令营就已经是满员了。这里的孩子们不光有华裔，还有印度裔和白人等等。
我们来美国的时候是07年，然后在美国教课，然后后来13年我们在这边开了我们第一家的武馆。对，
现在您有多少学员？已经教过多少学员？
教过差不多2000多人了吧，教过2000多人，对。
My name is Jackson, and I want to become a black belt and learn how to defend myself.
Basically, I'm from Dubai.
Dubai. Oh, really?
Yeah.
So why do you send your daughter to a kung fu school?
Mainly because for her to have a physical activity, so it helps her to increase her stamina and and to discipline her. One main thing, she get good discipline from here, for listening and.
I could do it.
So you have both of your kids here?
No, this is just my daughter. This is my friend's son, and his friend's daughter as well. We just carpool alternate days. One day I take them, and the day my friend takes.
Here's my son Austin. He's 5 years old, learning kung fu.
Why do you want to send him to kung fu?
For me, there are two reasons why. The first reason is for self-defense. If anything ever happens to him in the future or anything like that, he has the confidence of what he needs to know and what he needs to do, just in case if something ever happens. Then for the second part of it, it's just more mainly, besides self-defense, it's just more about the cultural part of it, learning part of the Chinese culture. So he knows besides he knows the American culture, he can learn also the Chinese culture for his part.
Why do you still want to keep Chinese culture in your heritage in United States since you're already born and raised here?
Well, because the thing about it is that my parents are originally from Zhuhai, right? So I grew up with that part of that culture of Zhuhai. And I understand that in each province it's a little different in a way perspective. So when we were born, we only knew that part of the culture and our Hawaiian culture because we're part Hawaiian. That's why I like to keep the culture going so they know who they are and they know what they will represent in the future.
就是真正喜欢去钻研的反而是美国人，你知道，到了这边以后，就是中国的孩子会让他们去学，但中国的家长本身他不会去学这个东西，他一般学的都是美国人。
OK，
你知道吗？他们对这个功夫到了一定痴迷的一个状态，真的就是很钻研下，告诉那师傅 How do I do this one? How do I do this? Why do I do this? 他会达到一个很钻，就像我们中国就像武痴一样的一个境界，就是非常的喜欢。他喜欢的不只是功夫，他喜欢是功夫里边的内涵，它的含义，攻防意识的一种含义在里面。对。
在美国，不仅有华裔孩子学习功夫，还有老外学习功夫，而且连教功夫的师傅都是老外。
My name is Jacob Thompson.
Why do you practice kung fu as a foreigner? It's rare.
Because for me, when I was growing up, I was bullied a lot in elementary school, and one of my friends talked to his grandfather about me, so his grandfather wound up teaching me, because they were Chinese, so he wound up teaching me Chinese kung fu.
Jacob 学习功夫不是因为被中国文化感召，是因为校园霸凌。没错，一个从小就胖胖的大鼻子老外会被同学欺负，最终是中国功夫成为了他生命的转折点。
I had two kids. One used to hit me in the stomach, knock the wind out of me. Another one used to jump and kick me in the face and bust my nose because my nose bleeds very easy. So they did it for fun. I was never tough. I was always soft. So my sifu taught me how to be stronger, and part of it's actually kind of being more violent.
Can you say kung fu actually rebuilt your personality or characteristics?
Yes, in a heartbeat. Yes, because I couldn't do anything. So like I said before, right? My friend had to watch me get bullied.
作为一个美国人，学习功夫的经历是怎样的？跟中国孩子们的感受是不是一样的呢？
Kung Fu is about failing up. You figure out where you're at, and then you work yourself back up. And so you always have a realization with Kung Fu. And so with me, that's kind of how it is. The traditional way is, this is where you lack, this is where you need to build up. Same thing in life. You lack in discipline, you got to build it up.
中国功夫和许多中国的教育理念是一致的，不经历风雨怎么见彩虹？ 老外能明白这个道理吗？
Like if anytime he basically told me any lessons or told me anything, just because of his accent, I'd be like, what? He just hit me in the throat. So I kept getting hit in the throat, hit in the throat, hit in the throat. So when he hit me, I can't breathe. Then it's like, hey, you listen when I speak. I'm like, I was, but I just didn't understand what you said. Try harder. So my throat got stronger. So it's called like the iron throat. So then a lot of the traditional training, you have to hit your body to get tolerant. So then as your body gets tolerant, then when certain things happen to you, it doesn't affect you the same anymore.
中国功夫从服装到礼仪，无不渗透着浓浓的中国文化。除了强身健体、防御自卫，功夫还代表着硬核的中国文化，与美国的文化有着非常的甚至是两极的不同。对比中国功夫文化与美国文化，这位美国高手师傅是这样解读的。
Growing up, a lot of the culture is very similar, but actually nowadays a lot of stuff is much more different. The way that you approach different things, the way that you have to kind of tiptoe around a lot of stuff. And Kung Fu, you don't tiptoe around it. You're basically straight up. So that's the hard part with a lot of things now, right? And that's one of the parts about Kung Fu that I like about the confidence part. So what I mean by that is nowadays you have to be soft on what you say. You have to be careful about everybody else's feelings and how the way you approach different things. It's the same way like when I approach talking about my Sifu. Not everybody would like me talking about him the way I talk about him. But to me, he was a great man. Nowadays, American culture isn't what it used to be. Back in the day, it was, you know, we have our holidays. We celebrate everybody for who they are, for what they are, wherever their heritage is, whatever their culture is. We don't hate on it or separate against it. We bring it into the melting pot. And then you bring it in and you start basically bringing everybody in as a whole, as a family.
Embrace it.
Yeah, like when we used to live on a block together, the whole block is like one family. Now you don't even know your next door neighbor or the other neighbor. And then when you go to try to talk to them, they don't want to give you the time of day. So then what makes you want to give them the time of day? There's no more bonding anymore. Nobody puts himself out there. Everybody keeps himself away. And then as everybody keeps separating themselves and keeping them away, then everybody wants to talk about big issues instead of actually meeting people. So one of the things I've always learned growing up is people are stupid, a person is smart. When you try to talk to a whole group, it's very hard because there's a group mentality there. And some people, even though they might have a different opinion, they don't have the courage or the confidence to stand up for themselves in a group. They might want to make a choice, but they won't do that choice in the group. They'll only do it by themselves, which is where that comes from. People are stupid, a person is smart. As a group, there's a group mentality. Some people don't want to be the one standing out. They don't want to be the unique one. They don't want to be the unicorn.
That's what you think is currently now in United States.
Correct. Nobody understands how to celebrate the fact of being a unicorn.
I'm very proud of my Chinese heritage and also very proud of my Hawaiian culture as also. Because I was born and raised in Hawaii, as you know, and my parents taught me to always be proud of who you are, including my grandparents. They always taught me to be proud of who you are, and it doesn't matter which background you have. Be proud of everything that all the people who came before you, and for all the people who are after you, including yourself.
其实，在美国有不少教授中国功夫的课后学校和武馆。中国少林寺的武僧们以及俗家弟子们白手起家，在美国建立起了一个又一个少林功夫学校，像星火一样在美国这个异乡传播着来自大洋彼岸的自信。
各个种族的都能够学到我们的功夫，我感觉这对我们来说，对文化的一种传播来说，其实是挺好的。因为我们只在中国的话，只有中国人才看到中国功夫发源于中国，但是它可以遍于全球。我感觉这是一个很好的一个发展的一个平台，这样的。
你的意思是中国功夫虽然发于中国，但应该让全世界看到。
是的，是的，对对，是的。
好了，今天的节目就到这里了。您有没有接触过中国功夫？聊聊您的故事吧。请您给个3连，点赞、关注和转发。我们下次节目再见。